here we are again. Where's the tree? The Christmas tree's gone. Oh, it's
gone.
New year.
It's a new year, and we're putting all that behind us. We'll have no more cheer, no more gaiety, no more excitement. Now, this year, we're getting down to business.
2022 is exactly where it's at, and let's start it here and right now with some news. So, you've thrown some fab news items in here. The first one, the benefits of cloud-based AV management. It summarises how cloud-based services have been embraced in recent times. IT staff need to work smarter when delivering support to more and more companies without the cost and the delay of actually getting to site. It's a great piece. I took quite a lot away from this, especially with AV network management, configuration and even operation. You know, people can actually control and look after and manage a whole system without having to be there. But these recent changes that have been thrust upon us, which is the way we say it, have played a role in speeding this adoption up. And this article really does go into great detail. Justin, what were your takeaways from this?
Yeah, I think for me the big message from the article was the way that system integrators are advised to take strong advantage of this. Because of the advantages it gives to them, the ability to help manage and maintain your customers' AV systems without having to roll a truck every time, right? Or if you're the end user, if you're in charge of maintaining the rooms, if you're in charge of training, you don't have to be in the room with the user anytime something goes wrong. You get to use these cloud-based services to alert your staff before something goes wrong. And there's so many ways. I know that I personally, I'm big in the smart home world. I like all that stuff. I like all the cloud-based things that I have in my home. I've got cloud-based cameras on the house. I got a cloud-based doorbell. I guess that's also a camera. I don't know what else I have, but I got all sorts of cloud stuff, and I love it because, when I'm away from home, I can understand what's going on. I can say, oh, let's check the thermostat, make sure that it's not too cold because it's freezing outside here today. And I like that, and I think that the AV end customer benefits from that. They benefit in cost savings, but then the integrator gets new things. This is a funny way to say it. They get new things to sell. I just said the end user is going to save money and the integrator gets to sell more, but that's really kind of the truth here, just because there are efficiencies gained. So I think it's something we need to embrace, and this is going to play in. We're going to talk to it. In fact, kind of what was it? Bill from Omaha asked about connecting these broken off separate networks to the internet. Well, you're going to have to connect to the internet if you want to take advantage of these cloud solutions. So there's kind of some interactivity there.
It does also include a section which I think is important about the security considerations of cloud-based services. And while it's been widely adopted, it's dead easy to click a button and off you go, it still requires that essential basic knowledge of networking to make sure that the right discussions are taking place with IT people. It's not just as simple as saying, oh, it's easy peasy, we can control all of our AV system, no problem, all cloud-based, don't worry about it, Mr. Customer. They do worry about it. It's important. So this isn't an easy way out for, hey, I don't need to know about this stuff, it's all done for me. It isn't. There's still an essential part to play for having the right education. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, I totally agree, and I'll say that that's a fantastic segue to our next piece. But before we go there, I wanted to ask our audience. I know I said segue. It's my fault. We're headed to here, but I want to ask our audience: have you tried cloud-based AV? Have you had experience with us? Drop us a note. Put it in the chat. Tell us what it's been like. But yeah, Matt, your point is exactly right. Just because these tools make things simple doesn't excuse the AV integrator from having to learn not only about the tools themselves, but a little bit about how they work. And that's really what this next article from Rachel Harris talks about. In it, she herself is a live stream operator, and what she's talking about is, look, there are great tools that make live streaming of events possible and even simple, right? And on the good days when things go right, you click a couple of buttons, you get your stream set up, and everything goes well. But what happens when things go wrong? And better than that, better than asking what do we do when something goes wrong, is asking how can we be prepared and ensure that things won't go wrong. And both of those kind of questions mean you need to have some under the hood knowledge to be able to dig in, to understand the concepts that underlie these tools, and use that knowledge to prepare yourself to build reliable working systems. Matt, what did you think of the piece?
Well, yeah, to follow on from that, don't forget that IT people are now learning about AV. You know, they are educating themselves about AV. It's there, the convergence is happening. So therefore, we need to make sure from an AV perspective that we're learning about IT. And it does a really good job of raising this point inside this article. It also suggests, which I really liked about this, that troubleshooting is actually an excellent learning experience. Being able to take on board the issues that may arise, maybe it's from an IT perspective, but rather than just handing it over to the IT guy that knows about it, it's a case of learning about it yourself and troubleshooting it yourself. And that's what the IT guys need to see from us. The convergence isn't just technical. The convergence, Justin, for me, is also a personnel thing. You know, it's the convergence of IT and AV personnel to make the system work for the client properly. And IT teams may still see AV convergence as a bit of a threat. You know, it's not just a transition. And it might take a little bit more time and a bit more learning on the AV and the IT guys' part to finally win this battle. So bear that in mind. This is a great article to check up on.
Yeah, you know, you talked about AV and IT as a people convergence issue. Tune in 2 weeks, and we're going to talk about that. Another beautiful segue, Matt. Two final thoughts that Rachel ended her article with, tied to what you just said, Matt. First of all, she said everything a business does on the network is more important than AV delivery.
Yes.
And so what she suggests concretely that really resonated as true with me is, if you go to your IT team with an attitude of, here's what we want to achieve, but how do we protect the network, then they're going to see you as an ally in what they're trying to achieve. And now I think they're going to be more open to learning about what AV can do for the network, and what AV can do for the business and how the network can support that.
Absolutely.